The grand ballroom of the Riverside Hotel sparkled like a diamond under the soft glow of crystal chandeliers. Golden light danced across marble floors, while hundreds of guests in designer gowns and tailored suits mingled around tables decorated with white roses and silver ribbons. The charity gala was in full swing, celebrating children's education programs across the city. Soft jazz music floated through the air as couples swayed on the dance floor, their laughter mixing with the gentle clink of champagne glasses. In the far corner of the ballroom, away from the bright lights and cheerful conversations, sat Nathan Rivers. At 32 years old, he was one of the youngest tech millionaires in the country, known for creating software that changed how people connected online. His thick, dark hair was perfectly styled, and his expensive black tuxedo fit his broad shoulders like it was made just for him. But the polished chrome wheelchair beneath him told a different story than the confident businessman the world once knew. Nathan's steel-gray eyes watched the crowd with a mixture of loneliness and pain. 2 years ago, everything had been different. He used to be the center of attention at events like this, shaking hands with investors, dancing with beautiful women, making deals that would shape the future. But a racing accident on a rainy Sunday morning had changed everything in an instant. The doctors had been clear about his condition. The damage to his spine meant he would never walk again. Since then, Nathan had become a ghost at his own events. He attended because his company expected it, because the charities needed his donations. But he felt like he was watching life through a thick glass wall. Friends had slowly drifted away, uncomfortable with his new reality. His girlfriend Victoria had left just 3 months after the accident, saying she wasn't strong enough to handle his new limitations. The worst part was that Nathan had begun to believe she was right. Tonight felt particularly difficult. The theme was dancing for dreams, and everywhere he looked, couples were lost in each other's arms on the dance floor. Nathan gripped his champagne glass tighter, the golden liquid inside trembling slightly. He had already donated $250,000 to the cause, but money felt hollow when you had no one to share your life with. "More champagne, sir?" a gentle voice asked beside him. Nathan looked up to see a young woman in a simple black server uniform holding a silver tray. She had warm brown eyes and shoulder-length chestnut hair pulled back in a neat ponytail. There was something different about her smile compared to the polite but distant expressions he usually received from staff. She looked at him like he was just another person, not a tragic figure to be pitied. "No, thank you," Nathan replied, his voice rougher than he intended. "I'm fine." The woman nodded and was about to move on when a small boy appeared at her side. He looked about 7 years old, with the same warm brown eyes and a mischievous grin that seemed to light up his whole face. He wore a tiny bow tie that was slightly crooked. His dark hair stuck up in several directions, despite obvious attempts to smooth it down. "Mommy, can I have some of those little sandwiches?" the boy asked, tugging on the woman's uniform. "Tyler, remember what we talked about," she said softly, glancing around nervously. "You're supposed to stay in the kitchen area, but I'm hungry." "And those sandwiches look so good," Tyler replied, then suddenly noticed Nathan sitting nearby. His eyes went wide with curiosity rather than fear or pity. "Whoa, that's the coolest chair I've ever seen. Does it go really fast?" "Tyler," his mother whispered, her cheeks turning pink with embarrassment. "I'm so sorry, sir. He's just curious about everything." Nathan found himself looking into the boy's innocent eyes, and something inside his chest loosened for the first time in months. "It's okay," he said, surprising himself by actually meaning it. "It does go pretty fast, actually. Much faster than regular wheelchairs." Tyler's face lit up with excitement. "That's awesome. I bet you could race it. Do you ever race other people in wheelchairs?" "Tyler, please," his mother said again, but there was a smile playing at the corners of her mouth now. "Don't bother the gentleman. He's not bothering me," Nathan said, and realized it was true. When was the last time someone had talked to him without walking on eggshells? "What's your name?" "I'm Tyler Grace, and this is my mom, Emma," the boy announced proudly. "She's working tonight to help pay for my new school shoes. I'm starting 2nd grade next week, and my feet grew 3 whole sizes this summer." "Tyler," Emma said gently. But Nathan could see the love and pride in her eyes as she looked at her son. "It's nice to meet you both," Nathan said, extending his hand to Tyler. shook it with the serious expression of someone conducting important business. I'm Nathan Rivers. Tyler's eyes went even wider. Wait, you're Nathan Rivers? The computer guy. My teacher showed us a video about you last year. You made that app that helps people find their friends, right? Nathan blinked in surprise. He couldn't remember the last time someone had recognized him for his work rather than his wheelchair or his accident. Yes, that's one of the things my company created. That's so cool. Tyler bounced on his toes. When I grow up, I want to make apps too. Maybe we could work together someday. Emma placed a gentle hand on her son's shoulder. Mr. Rivers probably has more important things to discuss tonight than future business partnerships with 7-year-olds. Actually, Nathan said slowly, that sounds like the most interesting conversation I've had all evening. Emma met his eyes. And Nathan saw something there he hadn't seen in a long time. Not pity, not discomfort, just genuine warmth. She was pretty in a natural way that didn't need expensive makeup or designer clothes to shine through. Her server uniform was simple and plain, but she wore it with dignity. Can I ask you something, Mr. Rivers? Tyler said, his voice taking on a more serious tone. Sure. Why do you look so sad? My mom always says that when people look sad, it's because they need a friend. The question hit Nathan like a punch to the chest. Out of the mouths of children came the truth that adults spent so much time dancing around. He looked at Tyler's earnest face, then at Emma, who was watching her son with a mixture of pride and concern. I guess I've been feeling pretty lonely lately, Nathan admitted, the words coming out before he could stop them. Well then, you should come sit with us, Tyler declared matter-of-factly. We're eating dinner in the kitchen because Mom has to work, but there's room for one more person. Right, Mom? Emma's eyes widened. Tyler, I'm sure Mr. Rivers has important people to sit with out here. Nathan looked around the ballroom at all the important people, who had barely glanced in his direction all evening. Then he looked back at Tyler's hopeful face and Emma's kind eyes. Actually, Nathan said, making a decision that surprised even him, dinner in the kitchen sounds perfect. If you don't mind the company? Tyler whooped with joy and started pushing Nathan's wheelchair toward the kitchen before Emma could protest. This is going to be the best night ever. As they made their way through the swinging doors into the busy kitchen, Nathan caught Emma's eye. She was shaking her head with a mixture of disbelief and amusement. I'm sorry about all this, she said quietly. Tyler doesn't really understand about social boundaries yet. Neither do I, apparently. Nathan replied with the first genuine smile he'd felt in months. But I think that might be exactly what I need right now. The kitchen was warm and bustling with activity, stark contrast to the formal coldness of the ballroom. Other servers and kitchen staff looked up in surprise as Tyler proudly introduced his new friend Nathan to anyone who would listen. Nathan found himself laughing at Tyler's enthusiasm. And for the first time in 2 years, he didn't feel like he was watching life from the outside. Emma set up a small table in a quiet corner where Tyler could eat his dinner. And to Nathan's amazement, she included him naturally in their little circle. She didn't hover or treat him like he was fragile. She simply handed him a plate of food and asked if he wanted coffee or water with his meal. So, Tyler, Nathan said as they ate, tell me about this app you want to create. Tyler's eyes lit up as he launched into an elaborate explanation involving superheroes, talking animals, and a way for kids to send messages to their pets. Emma listened with the patient attention of a mother who had heard this story many times before. But Nathan found himself genuinely interested in the boy's creative ideas. That sounds amazing, Nathan said when Tyler finished. You know, the best apps always start with big imagination. Really? Tyler asked. Mom always says I have too much imagination. There's no such thing as too much imagination, Nathan replied, glancing at Emma. Your mom is smart to encourage your creativity. Emma smiled, and Nathan felt something warm unfold in his chest. When was the last time he had sat with a family, sharing a simple meal and talking about dreams? When was the last time he had felt like he belonged somewhere? Mr. Rivers, Tyler said suddenly, do you have kids? The question caught Nathan off guard. No, I don't. Do you want kids someday? Tyler, Emma warned gently. That's a very personal question. It's okay, Nathan said, though he felt the familiar ache of loneliness. I used to think about having a family someday. But things change sometimes. Tyler studied him with the serious expression of someone much older than 7. My dad left when I was little. Mom says sometimes grown-ups get scared and run away instead of staying to figure things out. Emma's cheeks flushed. Tyler, that's enough personal questions for one night, but Nathan found himself leaning forward, drawn in by the boy's honest way of looking at the world. Your mom sounds very wise. She is, Tyler agreed. She works 2 jobs to take care of us, and she still finds time to help me with my homework and read me stories. She's like a superhero, but she doesn't wear a cape. Nathan looked at Emma, who was clearly embarrassed by her son's praise, but also glowing with love for the boy. He began to understand that he wasn't the only one who had been dealt difficult cards in life. Emma was raising a child alone, working multiple jobs, doing whatever it took to provide for her family. Yet she seemed to approach each day with grace and determination. Tyler's right, Nathan said quietly. That does sound pretty heroic to me. As the evening continued, Nathan found himself completely absorbed in conversation with Tyler and Emma. The boy's endless curiosity and Emma's gentle wisdom created a warm bubble that made the rest of the world fade away. For the first time since his accident, Nathan forgot about his wheelchair, forgot about being different, forgot about feeling sorry for himself. When the gala began winding down, Nathan realized he didn't want the evening to end. Tyler had fallen asleep with his head on the small table, exhausted from excitement and a late bedtime. Emma was gently stroking her son's hair, her face soft with maternal love. Thank you, Nathan said quietly, not wanting to wake Tyler. For what? Emma asked. For letting me be part of your evening. For treating me like a regular person, instead of a problem to be solved or avoided. Emma met his eyes steadily. You are a regular person, Mr. Rivers. You just happen to use a wheelchair. Tyler and I don't see what makes you different. We see what makes you you. Those words hit Nathan harder than any medical diagnosis or pitying look ever had. For the first time in 2 years, someone saw him as Nathan the person. Not Nathan the disabled millionaire or Nathan the tragic accident victim. Would it be okay if I saw you both again sometime? Nathan asked, his heart pounding as he waited for her answer. Emma hesitated for just a moment, and Nathan could see her weighing the complications of getting involved with someone from such a different world. Then she smiled, and it was like sunshine breaking through storm clouds. Tyler would never forgive me if I said no, she replied. He's already planning your next app collaboration. As Nathan left the hotel that night, wheeling himself out into the cool evening air, he felt something he hadn't experienced in 24 months. Hope. A 7-year-old boy and his remarkable mother had somehow managed to crack open the walls he had built around his heart. And for the first time since his accident, Nathan Rivers was looking forward to tomorrow. 3 weeks had passed since the charity gala, and Nathan Rivers found himself doing something he hadn't done in 2 years. He was looking forward to each new day. Every morning, he would check his phone for messages from Emma. Every afternoon, he would think about what they might do together next. It was a feeling both wonderful and terrifying. Emma worked at Rosie's Diner on 5th Street during the day, a small family restaurant with red vinyl booths and checkered floors that served the best coffee in town. Nathan had started stopping by for lunch, initially telling himself it was just convenient since his office was nearby. But the truth was simpler and more complicated than that. He wanted to see Emma smile, wanted to hear Tyler's latest creative ideas, wanted to feel like he belonged somewhere again. The usual, Mr. Rivers? Emma asked as Nathan wheeled himself up to the counter on a Tuesday afternoon. She wore a light blue uniform, with her name stitched in white thread above the pocket, and her hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail. There was something beautiful about the way she moved through her work with quiet efficiency. Actually, I was wondering if you might want to have dinner sometime, Nathan said, the words coming out more quickly than he had planned. Just the 2 of us. I could pick you up after your shift. Emma paused, coffee pot still in her hand, and Nathan could see the uncertainty flash across her face. They had been spending time together, but always with Tyler present, always in casual settings. A real date was different territory entirely, I don't know, Emma said quietly. glancing around to make sure no other customers were listening. Tyler has school tomorrow, and I can't really afford a babysitter right now. Nathan felt his heart sink. But then Tyler's voice piped up from behind the counter where he was doing homework. At a small table, I could stay with Mrs. Patterson next door, Tyler announced, not looking up from his math worksheet. She likes me, and she has cable TV with the cartoon channel. Tyler. You're supposed to be working on your multiplication tables, Emma said. But there was a smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. I am working on them, Tyler replied seriously. But I'm also working on getting you a boyfriend because you've been humming happy songs all week. And the only time you hum is when something good is happening. Emma's cheeks turned pink, and Nathan found himself grinning despite his nervousness. Tyler had a way of cutting straight to the truth that was both embarrassing and endearing. So what do you say? Nathan asked gently. Just dinner. Nothing fancy if that makes you more comfortable. Emma looked at him for a long moment, and Nathan could see her weighing her options. Finally, she nodded. Okay, but somewhere casual. I don't own anything fancy enough for the kinds of places you probably go to. I know just the place, Nathan said, relief flooding through him. How about Luigi's on Maple Street? They have the best pizza in town? Really? Emma asked, surprised. That's where Tyler and I go for special occasions. It's nothing like those expensive restaurants downtown. Those expensive restaurants are cold and pretentious, Nathan replied honestly. I'd rather have good food and good company than caviar and awkward conversation. That evening, Nathan arrived at Emma's small apartment building feeling more nervous than he had before any business meeting or investor presentation. He had chosen his clothes carefully, settling on dark jeans and a simple button-down shirt instead of his usual expensive suits. He wanted Emma to see him as Nathan the person, not Nathan the millionaire. Emma lived on the second floor of a converted house in an older neighborhood. Nathan had called ahead to make sure there was wheelchair access, and the landlord had installed a ramp just the month before. As Nathan wheeled up to the front door, he could hear Tyler's excited voice from inside. Mom, he's here. Your boyfriend is here. Tyler, he's not my boyfriend, Emma's voice replied. But Nathan could hear the laughter in it. The door opened, and Nathan's breath caught in his throat. Emma wore a simple green dress that brought out the color of her eyes, and she had left her hair down so it fell in soft waves around her shoulders. She looked beautiful, but more than that, she looked happy. You look amazing, Nathan said, meaning every word. Thank you, Emma replied, her cheeks pink with pleasure. You clean up pretty well yourself. Tyler appeared behind his mother, wearing pajamas with rockets on them. Mom made me promise to behave for Mrs. Patterson, but I told her I always behave. That's debatable, Emma said, ruffling her son's hair. But I love you anyway. I love you too, Mom. And I like Nathan too, so you should definitely keep him. Tyler. Emma protested, but Nathan just laughed. I like you too. Tyler. We'll have to work on that app idea soon. Luigi's restaurant was exactly what Nathan had hoped for. Small tables with checkered tablecloths, dim lighting from old-fashioned lamps, and the warm smell of garlic and fresh bread filling the air. The owner, an elderly Italian man named Giuseppe, greeted Emma like an old friend and didn't seem surprised to see Nathan with her. Ah, Emma, you bring a new friend, Giuseppe said, with a warm smile. Any friend of Emma's is family here. They were seated at a corner table where Nathan's wheelchair fit comfortably. And for the first time in years, Nathan didn't feel like his mobility device was drawing stares or whispered comments. The other diners seemed too focused on their own conversations and meals to pay attention to anyone else. This place is perfect, Nathan said as they looked over the menu. How did you find it? Tyler and I discovered it about a year ago, Emma replied. We were walking home from the library, and it started raining really hard. Giuseppe let us wait inside until it stopped, and he made Tyler hot chocolate and told him stories about Italy. We've been coming here for special occasions ever since. What qualifies as a special occasion? Nathan asked. Emma smiled. Tyler's birthday. The day I got promoted to head server at the diner. The day Tyler lost his first tooth. Small things that matter to us. Nathan felt something tighten in his chest. When was the last time he had celebrated small victories? In his world, success was measured in millions of dollars in stock prices, not lost teeth and job promotions. "Tell me about your work," Nathan said as they waited for their pizza. "Do you like being a server?" Emma considered the question seriously. "I like helping people, and I like that every day is different. The pay isn't great, but my coworkers are good people, and the customers are mostly kind. It's honest work." "Do you ever think about doing something else?" "Sometimes," Emma admitted. "I went to college for 2 years before Tyler was born. I was studying to be a teacher. But when his father left, I had to focus on just surviving day by day." Nathan wanted to ask about Tyler's father, but something in Emma's expression told him it wasn't the right time. Instead, he said, "It's not too late, you know. To go back to school if that's what you want. Maybe someday," Emma said with a wistful smile. "Right now, Tyler is my priority." Their pizza arrived, and as they ate, the conversation flowed naturally from topic to topic. Emma asked about Nathan's work, and he found himself explaining his company's mission in simple terms rather than the technical jargon he usually used. "We create software that helps people connect with each other," Nathan said. "The idea is that technology should bring people together, not isolate them." "That's ironic," Emma said gently. "What do you mean?" "You created something that connects millions of people, but you've been sitting alone at charity galas." The observation hit Nathan like a physical blow, but not because it was cruel. It was true, and Emma had said it with such gentle understanding that he couldn't feel defensive about it. "You're right," Nathan said quietly. "I've been so focused on other people's connections that I forgot how to make my own." "It's not too late for that either," Emma said, echoing his earlier words to her. After dinner, Nathan drove Emma home in a specially modified car. The vehicle had hand controls instead of foot pedals, and the driver's seat could rotate to make it easier for him to transfer from his wheelchair. "This is incredible," Emma said, looking around the car's interior. "It's like something from a science fiction movie. Technology can be pretty amazing when it's used to solve real problems," Nathan replied. "Though I have to admit, I was terrified the first time I drove after the accident. It took me 6 months to work up the courage to get behind the wheel again." "What changed?" Emma asked. Nathan thought about it as they pulled up to her apartment building. "I got tired of depending on other people for everything. I wanted some piece of my independence back." "That makes sense," Emma said. "After Tyler's father left, I had to learn how to do a lot of things I'd never done before. Change a tire, fix a leaky faucet, kill spiders in the bathtub." "You kill spiders?" Nathan asked with mock horror. "That's terrifying," Emma laughed. "Someone has to protect Tyler from the scary bugs. He's brave about most things. Spiders make him scream like a little girl." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, neither wanting the evening to end. Finally, Nathan turned to look at Emma directly. "I had a really good time tonight," he said. "I can't remember the last time I felt this relaxed around someone." "Me too," Emma replied softly. "You're different than I expected." "Different how?" "I thought you might be arrogant or entitled. Rich people often are. But you're kind and funny, and you listen when people talk. You make me feel like what I have to say matters." Nathan felt his throat tighten with emotion. "It does matter, Emma. You matter." They looked at each other in the dim light from the street lamp, and Nathan felt something shift between them. The air seemed charged with possibility, with the recognition that they were both taking a risk by caring about each other. "Can I ask you something?" Emma said quietly. "Anything. Are you looking for someone to take care of you, or someone to build a life with?" The question was direct and honest. So perfectly, Emma, that Nathan found himself smiling even as he considered his answer carefully. "I don't need someone to take care of me," Nathan said. "I've learned to take care of myself pretty well. What I need is someone to share life with. Someone to laugh with, and talk to, and dream with. Someone who sees me as a man, not a disability." Emma nodded slowly. "That's what I hoped you'd say. Can I ask you something now?" "Fair's fair. Are you looking for someone to rescue you, or someone to walk beside you?" Emma smiled at the way he had turned her question around. "Walk beside me. Or in your case, roll beside me." "I don't need rescuing, Nathan." I need partnership. Good, Nathan said, reaching over to take her hand. Because that's exactly what I want to give you. As Emma got out of the car, Nathan felt a lightness in his chest that he hadn't experienced since before his accident. For the first time in 2 years, he was falling in love, and the woman he was falling for saw him exactly as he was. Not broken, not tragic, just a man with his own challenges and strengths, worthy of love and capable of giving it in return. Same time next week? Nathan called as Emma reached her front door. I'll check my very busy social calendar, Emma called back with a grin. But I think I might be free. As Nathan drove home through the quiet streets, he found himself humming the same happy tune that Tyler had noticed Emma singing. For the first time since his world had changed, Nathan Rivers was looking forward to the future instead of mourning the past. 6 months had passed since Nathan and Emma's first date, and their relationship had grown into something beautiful and steady. Nathan found himself spending most of his free time at Emma's small apartment, helping Tyler with homework, sharing quiet dinners, and feeling like he belonged to a real family for the first time in his adult life. Emma had become his anchor, the person who made him laugh when work became stressful, who listened to his dreams and fears without judgment. But happiness, Nathan had learned, could be fragile. It started with a phone call on a gray Monday morning. Nathan was in his office reviewing quarterly reports when his assistant Rachel knocked on the door, her usually calm face tight with concern. Mr. Rivers, there's a journalist online too. She says she's writing a story about you and wants a comment. Nathan frowned. He rarely spoke to the press anymore, preferring to keep his personal life private. What kind of story? She wouldn't say exactly, but she mentioned Emma and Tyler by name. Nathan's blood turned cold. He had always known this day might come, but he had hoped his relationship with Emma could stay out of the public eye. Transfer the call to me, the journalist. A woman named Patricia Webb from the city's largest newspaper got straight to the point. Mr. Rivers, I'm writing a piece about your relationship with Emma Grace. Sources say you've been financially supporting a single mother and her child. Care to comment on whether this is charity work or something more personal? I'm not going to discuss my private relationships, Nathan said firmly. So you're confirming there is a relationship. My sources suggest Miss Grace works multiple low-paying jobs while you're worth over $50 million. Some people might see that as an unbalanced dynamic. Nathan felt anger rising in his chest. Emma Grace is one of the most independent, hardworking people I know. Your implication is insulting to both of us. What about the child? Tyler Grace, age 7. He's been seen with you at several public events. Are you using a relationship with his mother to gain access to a minor? The accusation hit Nathan like a physical blow. That's completely inappropriate and false. I'm just asking the questions our readers want answered. Mr. Rivers. The story runs tomorrow morning. Nathan hung up, his hands shaking with rage and fear. He knew exactly what kind of story Patricia Webb was planning to write. It would paint him as either a predator or a rich man buying companionship, and Emma as either naive or opportunistic. Tyler would be portrayed as caught in the middle of an inappropriate adult relationship. That evening, Nathan sat in his car outside Emma's apartment building for 20 minutes before finally going upstairs. He had to tell her what was coming, but he dreaded seeing the trust in her eyes turn to doubt or fear. Emma opened the door with her usual bright smile, but it faded when she saw his expression. Nathan, what's wrong? Tyler looked up from where he was building a fort out of couch cushions. Hi, Nathan. Come see my castle. It has a drawbridge and everything. That looks amazing, buddy, Nathan said, trying to keep his voice normal. Can you show me in a few minutes? I need to talk to your mom first. Something in his tone made Emma's face go pale. She followed him into the small kitchen, leaving Tyler to his fort construction. There's going to be a newspaper story about us tomorrow, Nathan said without preamble. About our relationship? About Tyler. Emma leaned against the counter, her knuckles white where she gripped the edge. What kind of story? Nathan told her about the phone call, watching her face grow more stricken with each detail. When he finished, Emma was quiet for a long moment. They think I'm with you for money, she said finally. Emma, you know that's not true. I know it's not true, but other people will believe it. Emma's voice was barely above a whisper. They'll think I'm some kind of gold digger who's using her child to trap a rich man. We'll get through this, Nathan said, reaching for her hand. It's just gossip. It'll blow over. Emma pulled away from his touch, and Nathan felt his heart sink. Will it, Nathan? I've worked so hard to build a reputation in this town. I've worked double shifts and saved every penny to give Tyler a good life. Now people are going to look at us and think we're frauds. Emma, please, don't let them win. Don't let some bitter journalist destroy what we have. What we have. Emma's voice rose slightly. Then she glanced toward the living room where Tyler was playing and lowered it again. Nathan, what we have is a fantasy. You live in a penthouse apartment that costs more than I make in 5 years. You drive a car worth more than my entire education. We've been pretending that doesn't matter, but it does. Money doesn't matter to me. Emma, you know that. It matters to everyone else, Emma said, tears starting to fall. And it matters to Tyler's future. What happens when he goes to school and kids tease him about his mom dating the rich guy? What happens when he starts thinking he needs expensive things to be happy? Nathan felt desperate, like he was watching the best thing in his life slip away. We can figure this out. We can move somewhere else if we have to. I can set up a trust fund for Tyler's education. I can help you go back to school. Listen to yourself, Emma said sadly. Your solution to everything is money. But some problems can't be solved by writing a check. Then what do you want me to do? Nathan asked, his voice breaking. Emma wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I want you to go home, Nathan. I need time to think. Emma, please don't shut me out. I'm not shutting you out. I'm trying to protect Tyler. And maybe I'm trying to protect you too. I don't need protection. I need you. Emma looked at him with such sadness that Nathan felt like his chest was caving in. Sometimes love isn't enough, Nathan. Sometimes the world makes it impossible. Nathan wanted to argue, wanted to fight, wanted to promise her that everything would be okay. But looking at Emma's face, he realized that pushing her right now would only make things worse. Okay, he said quietly. I'll go. But Emma, I'm not giving up on us. I can't. As Nathan left the apartment, he heard Tyler call out, Nathan, don't you want to see my castle? Maybe tomorrow, buddy, Nathan called back, his voice thick with unshed tears. The newspaper story was worse than Nathan had imagined. The headline read, Tech Millionaire's Questionable Romance, and the article was full of unnamed sources and insinuations. It painted Emma as a calculating single mother, and Nathan as either a fool being taken advantage of or a predator with inappropriate interest in Tyler. For 3 days. Nathan heard nothing from Emma. He called twice and sent several text messages, but she didn't respond. He considered going to the diner where she worked, but he didn't want to cause a scene that might make things worse for her. On Thursday evening, his phone finally rang. It was Emma. Can you come over? She asked without preamble. Tyler's at his friend's house for the night. We need to talk. Nathan arrived at Emma's apartment faster than was probably safe. She let him in without a word, and he could see she had been crying. The newspaper article was spread out on her kitchen table, circled and highlighted in several places. I've been reading this over and over, Emma said, gesturing to the paper. Trying to see us the way strangers see us. And what do you see? Nathan asked carefully. I see two people who care about each other but live in completely different worlds, Emma said. I see a little boy who's gotten attached to a man who might not be able to stay in his life. I want to stay in his life. In both your lives. But can you? Emma asked. Nathan, this article is just the beginning. If we stay together, there will always be people watching us, judging us, looking for reasons to tear us apart. Can you live with that? Can Tyler? Nathan sat down across from her at the small table. I don't care what other people think. You say that now. But what about when Tyler's classmates start whispering about him? What about when you have to attend business functions and people treat me like your charity case? What about when Tyler gets older and starts asking why his life is so different from other kids? Nathan felt like he was drowning. Every point Emma made was valid, every concern real, but he couldn't accept that their love wasn't strong enough to overcome these obstacles. Emma, look at me, Nathan said, reaching across the table to take her hands. Do you love me? That's not the question. It's the only question that matters. Do you love me? Emma's tears started falling again. Of course I love you. I love you so much, it terrifies me. Then we'll figure out the rest. Together, how? Emma asked desperately. How do we make this work without destroying Tyler's childhood or your reputation? Nathan was quiet for a long moment, thinking. Then an idea began to form. Crazy and impulsive, but maybe just crazy enough to work. What if we left? He said suddenly. What? What if we left the city? I can run my company from anywhere with a good internet connection. You could go back to school, become the teacher you always wanted to be. Tyler could grow up somewhere where no one knows about newspaper, articles or trust funds or wheelchair accidents. Emma stared at him. Nathan, you can't be serious. Your whole life is here. My whole life is you and Tyler, Nathan said simply. Everything else is just business. You would give up everything for us. Emma, don't you understand? You and Tyler didn't take anything away from my life. You gave me a life worth living again. Emma was crying harder now, but Nathan could see something changing in her face. Hope, maybe. Or at least the possibility of hope. Where would we go? She whispered. Anywhere you want. There's a small college town in Vermont where my company has a satellite office. Good schools, friendly people, mountains, and lakes. Tyler could learn to fish and hike. You could teach elementary school kids about reading and math. I could work from a home office and be there when Tyler gets off the school bus every day. It sounds like a dream, Emma said. It could be our reality. Emma wiped her eyes and looked at the newspaper article one more time. Then she crumpled it up and threw it in the trash. Okay, she said. Let's do it, really? Really. But I have conditions. Anything. I pay my own way as much as possible. I don't want to feel like I'm being kept. Agreed. Tyler and I keep our name. We're not trying to erase who we are, of course. And if this doesn't work, if Tyler gets unhappy or you decide small-town life isn't for you, we revisit the whole thing. It's going to work, Nathan said confidently. How do you know? Nathan rolled his wheelchair closer to Emma's chair and cupped her face in his hands. Because we love each other. Because Tyler deserves to have a father who will never leave him. Because I've spent 2 years learning that the most important things in life can't be bought or sold or destroyed by gossip columns. Emma leaned forward and kissed him, soft and sweet and full of promise. I love you, Nathan Rivers. I love you too. Emma Grace. Both of you. 6 months later, Nathan was sitting on the front porch of a white farmhouse in Vermont, watching Tyler chase fireflies in the yard. The mountains rose green and peaceful in the distance, and the air smelled like pine trees and summer flowers. Emma came out of the house carrying 2 glasses of lemonade, her engagement ring catching the light from the setting sun. How was your first day of school? Nathan asked as she settled into the chair beside him. Wonderful, Emma said, her face glowing with happiness. 3rd graders are even more energetic than I remembered, but I loved every minute of it. And Tyler? Made 3 new friends and informed his teacher that his dad is the coolest because he has a wheelchair that can go faster than a bicycle. Nathan laughed. Tyler had started calling him Dad about a month after they moved to Vermont, and Nathan had never heard a sweeter sound. Any regrets? Emma asked the question she had asked him dozens of times over the past few months. Only that we didn't do this sooner, Nathan replied. The same answer he gave every time. As they sat watching Tyler play, Emma reached over and took Nathan's hand. Thank you, she said quietly. For what? For showing me that love really can conquer everything. For proving that fairy tales can come true. Even for single moms and men in wheelchairs. Nathan brought her hand to his lips and kissed it gently. Thank you for seeing me as a man worth loving. For giving me a family worth fighting for. As the stars began to appear in the darkening sky, Tyler ran up to the porch, breathless and grass-stained, and completely happy. Did you see how many fireflies I caught? He asked excitedly. I counted at least 1 million. At least Nathan agreed solemnly. Maybe even 1 billion. Tyler climbed onto Nathan's lap, settling in like he belonged there, which he did. Tomorrow, can we work on my new app idea? It's going to help kids find the best climbing trees in their neighborhood. Sounds like a winner, Nathan said, ruffling Tyler's hair. We'll start designing it after breakfast. As Emma tucked Tyler into bed later that night, Nathan could hear their voices through the thin farmhouse walls. "Mom?" Tyler asked sleepily. "Yes, sweetheart. Are we going to stay here forever? Would you like that?" "Yeah. I like having a dad who's always home when I get off the school bus. And I like that you smile all the time now. I like those things too," Emma said softly. "Mom?" "Yes?" "I think we're the luckiest family in the whole world." Nathan smiled in the darkness of the hallway, his heart full to overflowing. Tyler was right. They were the luckiest family in the world. Not because they had money or success or perfect circumstances, but because they had something much rarer and more valuable. They had love that refused to give up, hope that survived every obstacle, and the courage to build a new life together. In the end, that was the only kind of wealth that really mattered.